Oh shoot, what a beaut. Number one of possibly a 3 or maybe a 4-part series, and this is when you're buying a used car, what to look for. You've kind of seen these videos on YouTube. Figured I'd give my views on them and see what I'd check out when I'm getting one of these bad boys. As you can see, this is a 2005 Chevy Aveo. It is a beautiful car. As you can see, it's super fast. They got these big, huge 4-cylinder engines in them. Totally kidding. But they are decent cars. I mean, for what it is, it's a cheap car. We got it for my niece. The Durango is now gone. He's coming to pick it up hopefully tonight. But either way, this is what you look for when you're buying a used vehicle. What should you look for? If you see something on the side of the road, you're like, oh my goodness, I want to go pick it up. What should you look for? So, all right. First thing I look for when you're buying a car is obviously you want to look at the price. You want to see how much they want for the car. But after you do that, I'm going to get into that later, but things you do look for actually on the car itself, tires. That's what I look at. Because tires, even this car has got cheapo tires on it. The tires are small, so they're pretty cheap, as you can see. But still, if you need new tires, that's going to cost you, could cost you, $400 right off the start. So you need 4 new tires. Boom, you're already $400 in the hole, plus the cost of the car. As you can see, these ones are in pretty good shape. They're so tiny. Can't believe how small these things are. Yeah, you want to look for tires. You want to look at tire wear. You want to look at all of them, obviously, and you want to feel it if they got any feathering, as they call it, or any flat spots. And there's flat spots in the middle of the tire. That means usually it's because they have too much air in the tire and it's going to wear out the middle instead of the outsides. And if it wears the outsides, then they have not enough air in the tires and they're going flat. So they're running them flat, which is not good. So that's the first thing I look for. Also, any body damage, which it's not a huge deal, I guess, but if somebody's trying to cover something up, you get it out in the sunlight. We're not doing that today because I got some testing I got to do, and I don't want to get the car outside. But either way, you want to look at the panels. You want to make sure it's daylight when you're looking at them. Check the panels out. If this thing is a little bit off from this, it might have been an accident, and that panel might have been replaced or repainted. And if they don't tell you that, why? Why didn't they tell you? Do they not know? Keep an eye open that. You might have problems down the road. The car might not be completely straight because of that. So you got to keep an eye open on that. What else do we have? Well, we live in Pennsylvania, so biggest problem we have up here is in the wintertime, salt. They run salt like crazy up here to keep the ice down, keep the snow away off the roads, but it kills the cars. It absolutely kills it. And you can see right here, it'll probably wash off, but the rust is there. People are like, oh, it's just surface rust. No, that's just what you can see. Underneath it is probably 4 to 5 times worse. Let me see if this door's unlocked. See, like, underneath, you can't see it, but underneath is probably actually, like I said, a couple times worse than what it actually is. If it's bubbling, it's already there. It's not just surface rust. A lot of people say that, but that's not what it is. Okay, back to the front of the car. You're going to look at the lights. See how these ones are all fogged over? You can, I think the other one, yeah, they're both kind of fogged over, so you're not going to get the good bright light out of it. You're not going to see as well at nighttime. You can usually buy the kits and you can clean them up yourself, but if it doesn't work, then you got to buy new headlights. So also keep that in mind. Okay, now going back to inspecting for rust is another big one. It's hard to see on this, but check out your shock towers, see if they're rusting out. If they are, see it's got some rust down in there. I don't know if you can see that or not. I don't have much lighting in here, but not right now. We're actually going to do an update on the lights. I'm redoing all the lights in here. We're going to get a video of that and see how well they work. So got some new lights coming in. But either way, keep an eye on some rust there. As you can see, we've got some critters that, yeah, shining it over there, Josh. Got some critters that lived in here. Clean all that out. This is all getting cleaned out before I let my niece start driving it again. But keep an eye on spark plug wires. See if they're old. These are actually new. I just replaced all these. I got this vehicle off my parents, so I actually know most of the records, the maintenance records on it for the last like 60,000 miles. So it is what it is. I kind of have an idea what the car is doing and what's been replaced and whatnot. But either way. Okay, we are now underneath the hood. We're going to look at a few things. One, engine oil. You want to see what it looks like. See, that's nice and fresh. I mean, obviously, you can check the level. You have to drain it back out, but you can check the level too. But check the engine oil. Make sure it's good. Check the transmission fluid. That's if it has that. If it's a stick, obviously you won't be able to do that. But in some automatics, you won't be able to either. I know the Chrysler 300Cs. They actually don't come with a dipstick. They just have a little screw in there that I think the dealerships have something they can measure it. But that's it. So keep an eye open on that. I know for a fact they don't because I've had like 4 of those cars, and yeah. So also check the brake fluid. That's back here. You know, check the level on that. Now, why would you check the level on brake fluid? Well, it's a closed system. Okay, so technically, as long as there's no leaks, that fluid should stay at a level and go up and down very, very slightly. And that up and down is because the pistons in the calipers are going in and out. Now, if you have a low fluid, that means the pistons are further out on your calipers, and that means your brake pads are going low. So keep an eye on that. Unless somebody just filled it up, like if they're going over this, they're trying to sell it, and they fill up all the fluids, then you're out of luck. But either way, if it's low on fluid, it's either got a leak, but you should be able to feel that in your pedal, or it's because your brake pads are low. So keep an eye on that. You can check the air filter if you want, but like this one's actually screwed in, so you're not going to be able to do that right away like on the side of the road. Like all this stuff you can do, as long as you have permission from the owner, you can do it right then and there, no tools necessary. Now you can see on the battery we've got a little bit of corrosion here, which that's not too bad. Yeah, we can clean that up pretty good. You can check the dates on the batteries if it's... That's hard to see. I can't even read. I'll have to take that off and even look at it and see it. Just see how old it is. Check the power steering fluid. It's right here. It's on different cars. It's different places. But either way, check that. While it's cool. Let's see if I can open this. I'm going to check the coolant. Nice. Check the coolant and the level and the color. See, now GM runs Dexcool, which is going to be like an orange color or whatever. And then other vehicles and makes and models, or if they flush this out, they just put green in. So keep an eye on that. If it's green, whatever, I mean, as long as it's got it in there. If they flush the whole system out, it's okay. But yeah, GM runs Dexcool, so just keep an eye on that. If it's orange, it's probably still okay. Now inside the car, and first thing you want to do is just check out the interior. Obviously, you're going to be looking at everything. You want to play with everything. Just check it out. I mean, look at it, see if you see any defects. Make sure everything opens, works. Everything's working in good shape. I mean, the e-brake, a lot of the things in automatic cars, a lot of people don't use the e-brakes anymore. So sometimes, when this is 2005, so it's actually getting a little older now. If you pull the e-brake, you might actually snap it. So just be aware of that, especially when you live where we live with all the rust. So keep an eye on that. And when you're about to fire this up, you need to listen. You don't want anybody talking to you. You just want to listen and hear what the car is doing. So let's make a listen, see if you guys can hear what's going on with this thing. I don't know if you guys will be able to pick that up or not, but it actually has sounds like it's got like a fart can on it because the exhaust is actually leaking pretty good. So that is one thing that I got to get replaced on it. Fix the exhaust. But really, I mean, you gotta listen, okay? See if you hear any weird noises, if making any squeals, if the belts are making a bunch of noises, if if the engine's tapping, if it's running rough, if your butt and everything's vibrating, listen, feel it. You don't need to talk to anybody about it. Just sit there and relax and pay attention to what the car is doing. Now you can look at the gauges, see if anything's weird going on. I mean, sometimes watch that temp gauge, because if you take this, the other video we're going to do is actually the test drive, but this is just sitting here, not taking the car for a ride yet. But once you come back, keep an eye on that temp gauge. If that gauge just stays down there, you might have an issue with like a coolant temp sensor, and then you might have issues with it starting in the cold. This actually had that problem. I had to replace the temp sensor in it last year, I think, when we did some maintenance on it. So keep an eye on that. Also the fuel gauge. This car is going to get decent fuel mileage, so we probably won't have to worry about that as much, but just make sure all the gauges are working. Any clocks, the radio, things like that. That right when you're buying, you're all excited, you're not really worried about it. You're like, oh, that's fine, oh, it's not a big deal, until you start pricing everything out. You're like, oh crap, I gotta fix this, I gotta fix that. Now my $500 car or $1,500 car just turned into $500+ depending. So that was part one. We're going to have maybe 2 or 3 parts of inspecting a used vehicle. This one is more of the inspection before you actually take it for a test drive, while it's sitting there. And the next one we're probably going to do is a test drive taking down the road, trying to figure out what's going on with it down that way. And then I might do a video of like negotiating skills, what to negotiate for, how to negotiate, stuff like that. So stay tuned. I'm going to try doing that here this weekend actually, and we'll see what we can do. Hopefully I get some time to do that. Also, we're going to do after we buy everything. After we bought the car, we brought it home, now let's check it out, let's jack it up. Then we're going to take also a video of that, see how that works, see what I can find out while the thing's up in the air. So yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed it. If you can, give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and follow. We got some other pretty big projects coming up, so I hope you enjoy it.